Hi, it's Sue from Firefly Growth. I am back with part two of How to Set Growth in Motion, and continuing on the conversation I started with part one. I wanted to talk about a few of the other best practices that help you run corporate innovation in a way that can be set up for the best possible success. And so last time that I talked about how to set growth in motion with best practices. What I covered was really all about, the leadership in the organization and how critical that is to have everybody on board and, rowing in the same direction. And most critically, the top executive, the CEO. Certainly the board as well. And depending on the size of the organization, that may be tough. And in fact, in some cases, you may not have a board. But regardless, I think I covered the first two things, which are, I would argue probably, if not the most important, would definitely rank pretty highly up there as things that if you didn't have, it would, frankly make it very, very difficult for you to have some success. And but today I wanted to talk about a couple other ones. So the first one I want to talk about was what I've highlighted on this page, which is how important it is to actually have a clearly defined innovation strategy. And specifically, like, what are you actually going to try and accomplish? What is innovation driving you towards that you need to deliver? And I don't mean revenue, I don't mean, results. I mean, what is it going to be and what is it not going to be? And especially for, organizations that are, have been innovating for a while and maybe, aren't getting the success that they are looking for, and maybe they're bringing in someone to kind of do an assessment. The first thing I would do is, are you sure that you have made it clear what you want to try and achieve? And let me make it more specific for you. So it's not just, hey, we want to be innovative. We know there's a lot of startups that are really, starting to become more formidable competitors. Our customer experience digitally isn't great, et cetera, et cetera. No, it's not that. It is specifically what is the mandate for innovation around what initiatives, what specific things do you want them to try and achieve, and what do you not want them to? And sometimes what innovation is not going to do is almost as important. For example, you could argue that a whole organization should become innovative, right? And for sure, but that takes time. And so if you're just starting up and you're bringing in someone to head up innovation, and you're kicking off some innovation projects, one of the things that will happen is many in the organization will be interested in getting involved, which is fantastic. It's great. You want them to be involved, but you don't necessarily, and this somewhat ties to this challenge of when you don't have a clear innovation strategy, you place importance on things like, well, let's get as many ideas as we possibly can, from the employees, from outside the organization. Let's make sure we have a really robust pipeline. That's great if you have a robust pipeline, for sure. It's one of the things that you actually need to do. You need to, evaluate things before you just jump all over them. But without a clear mandate and clear goals and objectives that are agreed to by the CEO and the top executive, that's a pipeline of ideas that may frankly end up, being things that the organization won't do. I have one example from my past experience where I was working with an organization that I think it's not a secret. It was Davis and Henderson. It's now called Finastra. But in Canada, we produced checks for many of the top financial institutions. I think there's quite a few competitors now, but at one point we were the dominant player. And then one of the things we thought would be a great strategy within innovation would be to pursue, sort of replacing the check with something digital. And this was a while ago. This was like easily more than 8-10 years ago. And I actually think it was a really strong idea, but one of the problems was that was one of the things that innovation was not going to do. It was not going to disrupt the existing business. It was about incremental new products, new capabilities, and unfortunately, we spent a lot of time on it. And we engaged one of the big banks, and they loved the idea. And today, thank goodness, we have lots of other. One of the primary uses of checks still is businesses paying vendors and large ticket items that you wouldn't want to use a credit card or something like Interac for, but now we have solutions that can help us do electronic funds transfer in a way that's more innovative. Anyway, that's an example where the strategy for innovation was not clear enough because we did not have the things we won't do as part of that strategy. And so, what I would recommend is making sure that, you are less worried about how innovation should, how do I put this? It's less important that you're everywhere, okay? You don't need to actually have innovation be something that is centralized, that is running, anything that's innovation, this group needs to be involved with. The most important thing is when you're building this innovation capability that you actually are clear on what it is you are trying to accomplish in a specific enough way that when things come along, you can very clearly say, I actually am not, that's not part of my innovation mandate. Doesn't mean it's not a good idea. It just means that it's not something that's likely going to be supported. And whenever in doubt, you can always sit down with that leadership team and share that idea with them and see if they change their mind, which is also part of innovation. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I just wanted to come on and continue the conversation on how to set growth in motion and the best practices. Thanks very much.